Most men don't lose their life in one big moment. They lose it quietly, slowly, in the places nobody sees. Not because of weakness, not because of lack of talent, not because the world is unfair, but because they keep avoiding the one thing that could have transformed everything: responsibility. You think you need motivation. You think you need clarity. You think you need confidence. But what you really need is the courage to stop running from the simple things, the things that expose who you really are. Here's the truth you don't want to admit. You're not afraid of failure. You're afraid of being seen trying. A few years ago, I gave someone on my team a simple assignment: clear, straightforward, low risk, something they had all the tools to complete. A couple phone calls, a few small steps, something anyone with basic courage could do. But instead, they ignored it. They didn't even start it. And guess what they did instead? They threw themselves into a massive project, something complicated, difficult, time-consuming, something nobody asked them to do. They were working, they were grinding, they were sweating, but they were doing everything except the thing that mattered. At first, I was angry. How could they avoid the task? Why pick something 10 times harder? Why ignore something so simple? But then it hit me. They weren't avoiding the work. They were avoiding themselves. Because simple tasks expose you. There's nowhere to hide. You either get it done or you don't. And that level of honesty terrifies people. Hard tasks, complicated tasks, those give you excuses. They let you say, "At least I tried. At least I was busy. At least I did something." But the truth was clear. They were scared. And then I realized, most men live their entire life this way. Think about your own life. How many goals did you abandon? Not because you weren't capable, but because you were afraid of starting the first step. How many relationships fell apart? Because you didn't communicate clearly, because you were afraid of saying what you actually needed. How many opportunities died? Because you traded simple responsibility for complicated distractions. This is how the pattern goes. You dream big. You avoid the basics. You drown yourself in complexity. You collapse under pressure. You blame your circumstances. And you repeat, and you repeat, and you repeat, until your life becomes a loop you can't escape. Avoidance is still losing. It just takes longer. When a man avoids a simple task, it's almost never because he's lazy. It's because he's terrified. Terrified that he won't do it well. Terrified he won't meet expectations. Terrified that the simplest task, the one he should be able to do, will reveal everything he's insecure about. So instead, he does something harder, something that looks like effort, something that looks impressive, something that protects his ego. But here's the painful truth. You're not scared of failure. You're scared of being seen failing at something easy. I once coached a man whose entire life was falling apart, career collapsing, relationship dying, confidence shattered, identity confused. But it wasn't because he was incompetent. It wasn't because he lacked talent. It wasn't because he didn't want to change. It was because every time life asked him to take a simple step, he chose the complicated escape. Every time he could have made a small call, he hid behind a large project. Every time he had one hard conversation, he avoided it with self-improvement research. Every time he was supposed to take responsibility, he performed instead of delivered. He thought he was being productive, but he was really just running. Running from discomfort, running from clarity, running from responsibility. And here's the heartbreaking part. He wasn't running from the world. He was running from the man he could have become. If you want to change your life, if you want to stop looping, if you want to stop collapsing under the same patterns, you must understand one thing. Responsibility is not a task, it's an identity. When you treat responsibility like something to complete, you'll avoid it anytime you feel insecure. But when you treat responsibility like the foundation of who you are, you move differently, you walk differently, you communicate differently, you show up differently. You carry yourself like someone who can be trusted. And here's the powerful part. Every time you do the simple thing first, your identity upgrades. Law 1. Do the basics first. Always. The complicated task means nothing if the foundation is unfinished. Momentum comes from the smallest step, not the loudest one. Law 2. Communicate like a leader. If you're unclear, say it. If you're behind, say it. If you're afraid, say it. Silence destroys more potential than failure ever will. Law 3. Deliver what was asked, not what feels safe. Extra credit means nothing if the assignment is incomplete. Stop performing, start delivering. Law 4. Your standards are the floor, not the ceiling. If someone asks for a 9 out of 10, you cannot aim for an 8 and hope effort makes up for it. Your standards define your identity. Your identity defines your life. Most men want to be leaders, but very few are capable of leading anyone, including themselves. Not because they lack talent, but because they never built the foundation. And the foundation is simple. Do what needs to be done, even when no one is watching, especially when you're scared. That's the difference between a boy and a man, between a dreamer and a builder, between someone who tries and someone who becomes. When you stop running from responsibility, you become someone different, someone grounded, someone dependable, someone consistent, someone people can count on, someone you can count on. You stop being the man who avoids. You stop being the man who hesitates. You stop being the man who breaks promises, especially to himself. And you become the man who finishes what he starts, communicates clearly, faces discomfort, handles pressure, builds momentum, earns respect through action. This is the beginning of real growth, real confidence, real leadership, real manhood. Responsibility is the doorway. Courage is the key. The task you've been avoiding this week is the reason your life is stuck. Not your past, not your circumstances, not your lack of motivation. Just the fact that you keep choosing the complicated distraction over the simple responsibility. You don't need a new plan. You need a new standard. Tonight, do the one thing you've avoided the longest. Watch what happens inside you. Watch who you become next. If you're done running, comment, "I choose responsibility."